we gotta do is just test out the sound because sometimes it doesn't work. So if you guys can go on the video or the podcast and then see see if the sound works, then we'll start.
It's not showing that it's live.
All right.
Is it working?
Okay, let me see. It just went live.
It just went live. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, let me see. It just went
All right.
live.
All right. It works. So turn down the volume now. Welcome to the Top Pug Podcast.
You don't
Today
want
we're
that
going to
extra.
talk about teens today versus teens how they were back in the 1980s and 1990s and maybe the 1970s. So today we have two special guests, my friends, and we'll keep their names private if you guys want to or no. What do you want?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
We'll keep it
So
private.
Yes.
I'll just you want me to call you by the name I normally call you guys?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so my friends, Miss Texas in Texas. When were you guys born?
I
Hey.
was born in 1973.
73.
I
Whoa,
was
I
born
didn't
in
know that.
81.
And 81. Okay. And then on our left, we have the guy you know from the last two episodes. Say
Bob.
hi. Hey, Bob. And then we have, you want me to keep your name? Keep your
Call me,
name secret?
call me Broski.
Broski?
Yeah.
Okay.
Broski.
Broski.
All right, well, we have Broski over here with the drip skin. So today we're going to talk about teens, how they were back in the day versus how they are now. So, first of all, Texas, I want to know which generation do you think is better, mine or yours?
Mine.
I would have to say mine.
Give me why. Why do you think it's better?
When I was growing up, we'd leave early in the morning. We'd be out all day. Wouldn't come home till it got dark. We didn't have to worry about, anything bad happening. Nowadays, I just don't trust any of that.
Uh,
Why don't you trust it?
There's just too many evil people in the world, and, I worry about the kids out by themselves and somebody taking them, or, anything could happen, but I just felt like when I was growing up, we didn't have to worry about that.
So I have another question here. I have my next question is, do you think teens are doing better with technology or were they better without technology?
Without.
hmm. So for me, and I grew up with technology and stuff like that, but seeing how technology is and how it's grown and how it's evolved, there is it depends on how you're using that technology nowadays, right? Nowadays, technology is in your face. No matter where you're going, what you're doing, how you're doing, it's there. So for kids that are using it responsibly, it it's not a big difference. But for other kids that are not taught how to use technology, I mean, it's with everything else. There's always a good, there's always a bad with it. Um, but I think for us growing up, we didn't have much technology because it was still being formulated, built, and used sporadically. Also, just it was one of those things where you can afford it, so you can't miss with what you don't have. You know what I mean? So you're always outside, like Miss Texas said, and you're worried about your friends and creating memories that way rather than kind of sitting behind a screen.
Yeah, and I agree with that because every day when I go to school, I just see everybody mostly on their phones, even when they're walking. I'm walking behind them and they're taking too long. Is uh is someone watching the video in the background? 'Cause I think I can hear it.
So look at it from the perspective of the Emoji Movie. How many have seen that movie, right?
I have.
I have.
So in that
What
I
movie,
have.
you see how kids are in the school, but just in general. And that's just kind of how everything is right now. Everything is built on uh, what I can capture on my phone at whatever moment, because now you have this viral thing that goes out, right? What can I do to kind of be that next viral sensation or whatever? Or if not, it's just more of just a memory type of thing, but you still have something in your face rather than this face to face kind of communication kind of thing. And I don't think nowadays communication in general, whatever, is something that's forthright in a lot of kids. Not all, I'm saying a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
because
Eric and I are.
oop, you just said your name.
Oh, it's all right. So Texas and I, Texas and I, when we go out to dinner, we don't allow cell phones at the table, right? So we're actually sitting there, we're talking, we're communicating. But
Yeah.
we look around the
And
restaurants and there's families and they're not talking, they're literally on their phone, and it's just really sad to see.
That's funny
yeah,
because
like I don't like even if we were allowed, I would never bring my phone. And plus, like
Yeah.
at when LeBron James scored like the most goals in all of NBA history, everyone was on their phones, just taking pictures and recording it. They're not like experiencing it in real life.
Yep.
yeah, because when I'm eating with my family, yeah, sure, maybe I check my phone once in a while if I get a message or something, but then I just continue eating. When I see my parents over here taking Instagram photos over and over and over and over again, I just want to eat. So I don't know about them. They take photos and then post it. Another question is,
Broski, how is it? Hold
Oh,
up real quick, Broski. How is it with you in you guys eating out and stuff like that? Like what's the rules with your parents on it?
Um, we're very like active while we're talking. So like I agree with like yeah, I check my phone like once in a little while, but I have different ringtones for different people, and
Right.
like I have this like very loud ringtone for people who text me with important stuff, and and then I check the message. But then if I have a different message for a different ringtone, I just look at it, and if it's important, if it's not important, then I put my phone back. But if it's important, then I look at it.
Do you think that it's easy to talk with your parents at the dinner table, be it at home or being out, easier because you've grown up that way versus why do you think kids who are out with their parents that are always on their phones no matter what, and this is parents and kids that are on their phones not talking to each other, do you think it starts at home where the habit is done, or do you think there's other reasons for it?
I think that there's another reason for it, for just warning about it at school, because like people after school here at my school, they're on their phones secretly, and
Mm,
I
yeah,
think
so
that
is mine.
people like warn it at school, and I personally think that it's wrong because you're not supposed to have phone. You can bring your phone to school, but it has to be off
mhm.
with so it doesn't become a distraction. But I personally
Yeah.
think that if someone like is like checking their phone, I won't tell on them. But if they're like playing a game or something, then I will tell on them because it's not fair if they don't get in trouble for being on their phone, but like
Right.
like someone else does.
So to add on that, when I go over towards my fifth period class, no, not fifth, fourth. It's math. What's funny is that the teacher allows phones, but this is what he said. He said that you guys can use phones and I will never take it away. However, if you use it during my lesson and you just keep using it, even though I'm teaching, I won't take it away. But basically, what he will do is that he won't care if you're on it because he's going to know that since you're on it, you're not focusing. And if you're not focusing, you're going to fail. And he says that it's on you if you do that. And every time I go into class,
Right.
I'm doing the lesson, right? I look over to my left, I look over to my right, I look over at the front, phone, 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 looking down, looking down. After he was done explaining the lesson, everybody would grab their pencils and just write down whatever he wrote down after that.
Yeah, that doesn't happen at my school, but people like play with like slime in class and stuff, and then after the lesson, everyone is not paying attention. They just ask a bunch of questions.
So Texas, how about and Miss Texas? So how was school back when you guys went in it before technology was there?
So for me in school, whatever, I mean, we had phones. We had cell phones, and you had those kids that would pay attention to it, or we had beepers, or stuff like that, or whatever, kind of going off. And so it wasn't like the problem is that it wasn't like how it is now, where it's so much more advanced in what you guys are able to do on the phone versus what you're not able to do, right?
Yeah.
So for us, we had old school teachers that were like, you can't have anything, you can't have any device on, and it is what it is. And if you took it out or whatever, it'd be picked up, it'd be sent to the principal's office, or they would have it like in their bucket, and you get it at the end of the day. So there's a consequence to doing that, but the way your teacher is going about it is is kind of like how it is like in life. You know what I mean? If you want to be distracted by something and yet you're being directed in a way with instructions, and then you mess up, well, if it's a job, you can get reprimanded for that. You can get in trouble for that. You can get fired for that. In college, it is what it is. You're paying them already. So the teachers are not really concerned about what's going on. Yes, they may have rules of, hey, we don't allow phones in here, whatever. But if you choose to have it, or some teachers are like, your fifth grade period teacher, where it's like, well, we don't care. But when it comes to test time, we know who's going to pass and who's not. You know what I mean? Given what they're seeing, but it's
Yeah.
just a lack of it's just respect in terms of being able to pay attention to what's being told to you, because that person's taking the time to not only talk to you but to try to teach you, and you're not given that respect. So you can't expect people to respect you all of a sudden when you're not giving respect to other people. It doesn't happen that way, you know.
Yeah. So, another question is, do you think, remember a few days ago we were talking about cancel culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think majority of these cancelings are from teens or what?
I honestly think it's the influencers in what these kids are looking at, right? If you have a certain topic and something goes against the grain within that topic, and you have a bunch of influencers online, and you have a bunch of people on the internet, and you have a bunch of people on the news or whatever talking about it to make you feel like, well, hey, we should cancel them and stuff like that. Well, then that has a very vast mental aspect in how a lot of teens think, right? Because a lot of teens will follow what the culture is, because they want to be cool, they want to be included, they want to be whatever, right?
Yeah.
There's certain things that have every right to be questioned, and there's others that may not need as much attention to it, because there's not enough information to make a very sound judgment about that. So, Miss Texas, you back on?
I'm
You
back
back
on.
online?
Yes. Sorry.
I'm
So,
just
the
listening.
question was whether or not cancel culture is something that's more derived by teens, or is there an outside entity that is kind of setting the fire for things to happen?
I don't think it's teens. I think it's coming from adults, and just everybody else is just picking up on it.
Influencers.
So I have another question about it. Do you think? Sorry. So no, not do you think? What do you think about Gen Z? Gen Z's teenagers. What's your opinion on
I
that?
personally feel sorry for them. They all got it rough right now.
As a member of them, I'm telling you the 100% truth. I absolutely hate my generation. I hate it so much.
I
Like
think the
they're
problem with y'all's generation and the one before y'all's is it's this entitlement. Like I'm entitled to this. I'm entitled to that. Um, I don't know, but I personally feel sorry for y'all.
I think there's a level of misunderstanding in a lot of things with your generation right now, and it's important that you and other people that have this outlook on life as more than what's in front of you, right? There's something more on a grand scale and stuff like that. I think if there's a lot more thinking like that, that because you got to understand, you guys are going to run the country one day. You know what I mean? Some
yeah,
of y'all guys are going to run the country. You guys are going to be in positions of power and stuff like that. And it's, how obviously the mindset hopefully changes over the years, right? As you grow up and you live life and stuff like that, things become a little bit more clear. And that's like that with every generation. Every generation has had, you know,
Their
um,
challenges.
these little challenges, ups and downs in terms of, well, this generation, oh my gosh, it's going to be, you know, disgusting, and the world's going to end, and but what what occurs in life and what you go through in life should be able to not only open up your mind, because knowledge is power, right? But it also gets you to think that, man, the way I was thinking 10 years ago was crazy, right? Like now you're more on this better line of thinking, this more clearer line of thinking, right? You have people in your life that is a good influence in you, family, very close friends and stuff like that, that have more of a directed path that doesn't doesn't rock the boat so much, but it does enough to where if there's change that needs to be changed for the sake of everybody, then that's great. But if it's not, and it's more of a me entitlement type of thing or whatever,
yeah,
then you know that's not right. And there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna disagree with that, and that's fine. That's all right.
yeah. That's
I
fine.
mean, we're not on this earth to 100% agree with one another. You know what I mean? But if you can have a dialogue as to why it's there is a disagreement, that's kind of where a lot of doors can remain open or be open when you're able to talk to somebody of the other side, if you will, and you're able to converse and there's a common ground that you guys meet, rather than, well, no, this isn't right. I don't agree with it. I'm going to call you names and I'm going to walk away
Yeah,
because I'm right. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That's kind of where I see a lot of what Gen Z is like. It's like, if you don't believe me, then you're gonna be canceled. If you don't
Yeah,
believe
that's
me,
exactly how I see it.
then I'm gonna make sure that I get my point across, and you're gonna believe me whether you like it or not. And that's not how life is. It's not like that at
Yeah.
all. Now, you can be
So,
self-centered, you can be selfish, and by all means, it is what it is. But for the masses, for the majority, it's not like that.
so before we end this podcast, uh, I need to know now, after reviewing and after talking, who is better, Gen Z, today's teens, or back in the day teens?
Back in the day,
Definitely
teens,
for
bro,
me back
all
in the
day
Yeah,
long.
day.
but I would have to agree with that, but I don't know. I just feel like you guys have so
So
much
much
to deal
potential.
with that we didn't have to deal with, which makes it harder for you guys. But I would say overall, ours.
And what she means by that is that there's so much coming at you guys from all different directions, be it the news, be it music,
TikTok.
being movies,
TikTok,
all these social
Facebook.
apps and stuff like that. There's so much at you guys, right? That's pulling you guys. You got people that wanna have 1 million followers on Instagram because it's the coolest thing. Yet you're never gonna meet one of those people, right? But their validation is by way of social media, right? Their life's validation is by this. Their life's validation is by, you know, the dances that they do on TikTok. They want to go viral. There's so much in your guys' face that without guidance on how to rummage through all that, it can get overwhelming. And that's not to say that again, not everybody handles it like that. There's people that can handle it really well, and there's a lot that can't. And what do you do for those that can't? You know what I mean? What are you guys doing to help each other, knowing that there's so much out there in your face to handle everything, right? But also
Mhm.
knowing that you can't handle everything because you guys are still young right now, right? So it's relying on the older past kind of generations to kind of say, hey, this is all coming at me. How do I handle this, right? How can I get through this? How can I sift through the good things and release the bad things versus not get so much into the bad things and always make sure that I'm back to a side that doesn't get me mentally, unstable, right? Because all this stuff going on or whatever can make you mentally unstable if you allow it to. You know what I mean? It can drive
Yeah.
you nuts,
Yeah.
and for no reason whatsoever, other than needing some other validation that you're maybe not getting at home, that you're not getting at school, that you're not getting with people that you know around you. So you look for that online, right? But I
Yeah.
think I think I think this gen I think Gen Z can do great things just like other past generations. We just you know we just have to figure out how to do that and how to work within those means with you guys.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is it for episode 3 of the Top Pug podcast. Thank you guys for being in the podcast tonight. Uh,
Thank
we'll
you.
we'll see if we can do another one maybe either tomorrow or maybe on Sunday. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a good day. I'll see you all in the next
Peace out.
podcast. Peace out.
Peace.
Peace out.